Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my final day off. Now, before I head back to work, I will be talking about the latest Christian Dior Private Blend fragrance. And yes, of course, this is a creation of Francis Kurkdjian for 2025. So for those that are interested to know more about this new Christian Dior fragrance, I'm here to break it down for y'all. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 25,000 subscribers. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 800 no hype videos and comparisons, and share them to your friends if they want to know full breakdowns on these fragrances and my opinions. No hype, unpaid. Well, you guys pay me, but I'm not paid by the companies to make a decision on these fragrances before you buy. And the fragrance that I will be talking about today is none other than the latest Christian Dior Private Blend fragrance for 2025 made by Francis Kurkdjian. This is none other than Christian Dior Bois Talisman. Yes, Christian Dior Bois Talisman. Now, what is up with this fragrance? Obviously, the bois, which means wood, really got me because, woody fragrances are, somewhat of a staple in, I would say, masculine fragrances, guys. Now, this fragrance right here, though, concept-wise, is really about Mr. Christian Dior, the OG. Christian Dior's affinity towards wooden talismans. He actually collected or wore these wooden talismans, and Francis Kurkdjian kind of rolled with that and created this fragrance right here. Now, like I said, this one right here got me interested because it is a woody fragrance and, could be a staple type of fragrance in the fall winter season. That's the way I interpreted it. And the thing about this fragrance is, of course, it got met with a lot of bad feedback. A lot of people are just hating on, I would say, the Kurkdjian era of Dior. I mean, to me, I'm kind of neutral. I reviewed Dior Parfum recently, and I really didn't give it like a bad review. I actually liked it. I thought it was okay. I thought it would get new collectors into the scene, guys. All right, but nevertheless, the hate keeps coming. Anyways, this fragrance concept-wise was about the wooden talismans of Christian Dior. And the fragrance, the other thing I really didn't like about this was, that they were pretty cagey about the notes yet again. It's kind of like a trend nowadays that, companies don't really tell us the full breakdown. And that's kind of hard for a lot of people because, we are, I would say nowadays, more careful with our money. We don't just like spend it. So it would be nice to know a full breakdown. And here with Bois Talisman, really, they just put woody, cedar, vanilla, and sugar. I mean, that's not enough. I mean, especially if you know fragrances and you have a lot to compare to, this type of breakdown. I mean, this ambiguous note thing isn't really gonna cut it. Either way, guys, I tested this scent extensively, so I will give you guys my breakdown of what I got to smell in this fragrance, and there's gonna be a lot of notes that are not listed that I will be sharing here. So hope you all are excited, guys. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, Dior Bois Talisman. Starting with this opening, which is truly a pleasant opening, guys. It will remind you of a bunch of fragrances, guys. But of course, as you know, this focuses on the woodiness of the fragrance. Right here in the opening, guys, cedar is going to be the most powerful note, or one of the most powerful notes. You have the dry sauna smell that is prevalent in fragrances like By the Fireplace and YSL Baby Cat. You'll get that dry sauna smell in a very prominent amount here in the intro of Bois Talisman. Now, what flanks this is really some nice undercover sweetness, okay? So you are going to get, in my opinion, chestnuts, which gives you like this earthy, nutty smell that vibes great with the dry cedar and a slight sweetness as well. So I believe that there's cedar here, there's chestnuts, and there is a slight olibanum note to create some smoky comfort with that whole combination right there. But nevertheless, guys, the intro is dry, woody, pencil shavings / dry sauna with an undercover sweetness of, in my opinion, chestnuts right here. And then you have the tertiary slightly smokiness of olibanum right here. Now, the olibanum is not like one of those incense notes that's gonna take over this thing, okay? It just adds a layer of smoky comfort as you're smelling the chestnuts and an open fire sweetness / the dry pencil shavings of the cedar. Now, I like this opening, guys. This one is woody and comforting and slightly sweet. I would say that the opening is actually the most powerful part of this fragrance as well. And this one is kind of like Christmassy in a way, you know, just like the other, you know, you can say the sweet and dry woodsy fragrances, very Christmassy, just reminds me of that season. And it's very, very comforting. I would say that this fragrance is mostly going to be a mood enhancer, mood calmer for the wearer because of, you know, the slight sweetness, the woods, and the comforting smokiness that's here in the intro of Bois Talisman. Okay, now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of this fragrance. This fragrance is a lingering scent with, of course, comforting properties. And like I said, this is going to be mostly for the wearer. I think that this is a fragrance that's more personal plus close quarters. I don't think that this fragrance, and I'll talk about performance eventually, the full performance of this, but I don't think that this is a fragrance that is going to be one that will have a strong aromatic presence. It's not really a presence type of perfume. It's something that I feel is for the wearer and maybe the confidants or the close friends of that wearer that are just literally 1 to 2 feet away. All right, it's more on the lingering sweetness and the comfort that comes in this fragrance, guys. So again, I feel like this one right here was made mostly for the wearer. And again, as I am wearing this fragrance right now and I'm smelling this intro right here, I feel great. Again, I've got the Christmassy vibes wearing this fragrance, no doubt. It's pretty likable indeed. Okay, now let's head into the mid of Christian Dior's Bois Talisman. Now the mid right here is, to me, where it gets progressively sweeter, guys. All right, the woodiness does continue on in the mid of Bois Talisman, but the chestnuts that initially had that slight sweet smell now evolves into what I think is the most prominent note right here in the mid, which is Peru Balsam. All right, I got to smell Peru Balsam here in the mid, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a resinous, slightly ambery note that goes very, very well with the dry sauna, with the cedar, guys. And right here in the mid, I would say that even the smokiness is at a minimum. I mean, the incense, like I said, is not that strong. It was just there for comfort. But the Peru Balsam definitely takes over into the mid right here, giving that ambery resinous nature that goes great with the woods. Now, another note that they added here in the mid of Christian Dior's Bois Talisman is sugar. And sugar is really, I mean, right now it's been used in a lot of femme fragrances, and it, you know, produces a lot of good, likable results in those fragrances because it diffuses in the air lightly, and it's kind of like a dry, sugary, kind of like a cotton candy machine smell that is pleasant not only for the wearer, it's comforting to a degree and uplifting, but also for others. I got to smell Bianco Latte off of somebody else, and I was like, oh wow, that's how it smells from another person. It's quite likable, guys. And sugar is definitely a balancer note right here when placed side by side with the Peru Balsam, the resinous, ambery sweet Peru Balsam. The sugar is a balancer note. Now, take note though that this doesn't necessarily mean that the fragrance will turn femme, because you will still have the woodiness, you will still have the resins, slight smoke even, but the sugar is a nice diffuser, an air diffuser, a dry diffuser of sugariness here in the mid of this fragrance. I like the intro here of the sugar. And finally, here into the mid, I feel there is also a toffee accord, all right? I'm not sure if that's caramel and vanilla together, but there's definitely a gourmandish toffee accord here at the latter end of the mid of Bois Talisman. So hopefully that makes sense now, because I know if you're looking at the notes on paper, it just says plain sugar, but I can guarantee you guys that that is not the case. The mid is much more complex than that, with a few very likable notes from the sticky caramelly toffee near the end, the diffusing sugar, the dry sugar note, and the Peru balsam, which is your resinous ambery note, mixed in with the continuing woodiness of Bois Talisman. I would say that the mid right here is a very likable one. If you liked the intro, I think you will like the mid a lot more, because it evolves in something more gourmand but still woodsy, and that makes this fragrance really awesome. And finally, guys, let's look into the dry down, guys. And the dry down of Bois Talisman starts at around the 6-hour mark of wearing this fragrance. And right here in the dry down is pretty simple. You've got vanilla and sandalwood. All right, those are the final notes of the dry down. Vanilla being the obvious, creamy, sweet choice, comforting choice at the end of this fragrance. And of course, sandalwood to really continue that woodiness. But sandalwood is just a beautiful, smooth, woody note towards the end. Blends perfectly well with vanilla in this case, guys. All right, so definitely it is a nice, sweet, woodsy ending. And one thing to take note of is that they did not use any heavy, dark notes in this fragrance whatsoever. That is something that Kurkdjian, really, he put a lot of balancers here. And towards the end, there's also no dark notes. So it's not a gradient, it's not a fade to black. Like I said, this one really, to me, appeals more on the sweetness, the senses, the woodiness, more for the wearer 100% to feel comfortable throughout. And with that being said, guys, I like this fragrance. All right, this fragrance is pretty damn nice. And I mean, we can argue that it's in the same vein as YSL Baby Cat, which I reviewed extensively, and I really recommended that one when it was fresh and new and nobody knew about it. And now, of course, Baby Cat is like a big thing now, right? So Baby Cat is one of those fragrances. It's probably linked into this, as well as By the Fireplace, by Margiela, and other dry, woodsy, sauna type of fragrances that have some slight sweetness. This is yet another one. And of course, this will not really be groundbreaking to a lot of people that have been around the block in this fragrance game. But I reckon, and this is something I've said on my last Dior video, I reckon that this is the attempt of Dior to get neophytes, new people that are gonna like the brand, they're gonna like what they're smelling, and they're gonna be loyal to the brand. New people that will affect the bottom line of Dior. That's why they don't care about the haters, and they don't care about all this negative stuff about Kurkdjian's era, because really it is a possibility that these people hating on Dior are not even putting a single dollar into the bottom line of Dior, and they are attempting to get a new audience. And when I try fragrances like this, I always put myself in the position of somebody that really hasn't tried everything, just to be fair, even if I have tried a lot of things. And I think that a fragrance like this at this point will be very nice, comforting, slightly sweet and woodsy, that I think a lot of people, just like how people fell in love with Baby Cat and By the Fireplace, will fall in love with this one. This fragrance right here is 100% for the wearer, but of course you're still gonna get some compliments. I got some compliments wearing this fragrance right here. But again, this is for me for comfort. And it really matches, I would say, the fall scenario more than the winter scenario, because the fall scenario is like not too cold to where you would need these like heavy hitting notes to be resilient in the super cold, but fall is quite okay. And also spring nights, AC environments, this would be a great time to wear this. I feel like this is a grabber basically for cooler nights or cooler days in the fall. And you know, in those cooler environments, you can wear this anytime, anywhere. Definitely unisex as well, because like I said, this one plays around the woodsiness that a lot of guys really like, but also the mix with the sweetness, with the pear balsam and the sugar and the toffee and the vanilla, which is something that women like as well. So I would say that this fragrance is very unisex. Okay, now let's talk about total performance on this fragrance right here. Now, this one right here lasted pretty okay, 11 hours on my clock. But the thing that I'm going to say that's probably the thing that you got to be careful about this one is that this one does not perform stronger over that amount of time. And that's something I wished became stronger here in 40-degree California weather, wintry weather. But the thing is, guys, there's nothing though in the formulation of this fragrance that's thick enough that I would say would be totally resilient to the cold. And that is why you might get people complaining about the performance of this one in the winter. And that is why I really came to the conclusion that this one is kind of like a spring nights or fall day and night and AC environments fragrance, guys, because it's not really that type that has those notes, those heavy hitter notes that will be resilient to the extreme cold, and it will not perform as well as you'd like. So I would say, like I said, lingering, draw in, comforting over 11 hours, but not to a super strong degree. So you probably either would have to overspray in really cold weather, or you know, wear it somewhere else. Like I said, AC environments, you should be okay. And finally, let's look at the cost. Is this worth a full bottle? This fragrance right here is $330 or plus tax $350 for, I would say, like a 100 ml bottle based on what I saw. And they even have a 250 ml bottle for this one. Now, to me, this is standard pricing for a Dior Private Blend fragrance. So again, if this is out of your budget period, don't hate, because that's really what their pricing is for Christian Dior Private Blend. The bigger question is it a full bottle fragrance? My answer is actually yes. But of course, you have the risk of redundancy if you have woodsy and ambery sweet, slightly gourmand fragrances. And that is why you need to try this first. There's a lot of decants out there, guys. But I reckon, guys, if you have nothing like it though, if you don't have Baby Cat or By the Fireplace, and you know, you haven't really pegged those as your standard woodsy, dry, sauna, sweet fragrances, then this could definitely be a full bottle fragrance for y'all. And like I said, looking at the Kurkdjian era of fragrances, which I have been reviewing extensively, guys, I don't think that they're trying to make anything really new. Okay, that is my conclusion so far, guys, all right? They're going to release a lot more in 2025, but so far, I'm seeing that they're not releasing anything totally groundbreaking for the old guard of Fragcom or the older collectors of fragrances, but I feel like they are making really pleasing fragrances, likable fragrances for a new crowd or a new market. That is my conclusion, really. And like I said, I mean, this fragrance right here, there's nothing to hate on it. Maybe, like I said, the strength overall, but the scent itself, no, it's likable. It's very likable, actually. Now that I'm wearing it again, I'm just like, wow, this is quite nice wearing this. I might wear this again for the whole day. There is nothing to be disliked about Bois Talisman. All right, just it's nothing really crazily new. That's it. But it's a really nice fragrance indeed. And that is it. That is my review. That's my no hype review on the new Christian Dior Bois Talisman. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance right here. If y'all have tried it, did you like the scent, the smell of it, the composition? Did it feel comforting? Did it feel like Christmas all over again? Let me know in the comments below, guys. And if you feel or if you felt that the performance was kind of lacking or the strength was lacking throughout this fragrance, guys, in this very cold weather right now, let me know in the comments below, guys, and I will see you guys on the next video. Unfortunately, I have to get back to work, Next up is the new Zaharoff that I have been testing as well. Can't wait to tell you all about it next time. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, share this to all your friends, and I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless, take care, peace.